Welcome to the Spy Collection. My name is Anastasios, and starting from this episode, we'll cover a couple of allegedly leaked CIA intelligence updates from March 1st, 2023. As always, we use that as an educational tool and not to assess its authenticity. The first one that we'll study is from the CIA's Near East Mission Center, or NEMC, which was the result of a restructuring that happened in the agency in around 2022. This is the emblem of the new mission center, which we shared on Twitter in April of 2023. The update starts with an unclassified for official use only update titled Iran, International Atomic Energy Agency reports on expanding nuclear program. And it says that on February 28th, IAEA Director General Grossi published a technical report on Iran's commitments under the JCPOA, that is, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, that highlight Tehran's efforts to expand its enrichment facilities and consent to increase IAEA inspections after inspectors found 83.7% enriched uranium particles at its Fordo fuel enrichment plant. Iran had declared its limit to be 60% in November 2022. The report also identifies a discrepancy in the amount of natural uranium metal that Iran dissolved at its Esfahan facility, which Iran is addressing with the IAEA. The Director General's report was factual in nature, with the IAEA avoiding the question of intent about Iran's enrichment activities. The IAEA is preparing a second report on outstanding safeguards issues with Iran that is expected to publish on March 4th after Grossi meets with Iranian President Raisi in Tehran. As it's obvious, the source of this was the technical report that IAEA published. We did find this report. It's this one. We'll leave a link in the description in case you want to study it, but it highlights something that is rarely talked about. Organizations like IAEA produce an incredible amount of reports and documentation, and there are other entities like that too. Think about this alone. This 18-page report is highly technical on the domain of nuclear energy, and the CIA experts were able to review it, extract what is valuable for the US government, enrich it with other sources, validate it, and then publish it in this update. And all of that in less than 24 hours after its publication. Apparently, the same happens with countless more organizations that produce such material, but that gives a great insight into this lesser-known impact of spy agencies in keeping their customers well informed. Moving next, we have a report for Israel, which is based on both NSA intercepting sensitive communications as well as NSA using their internet mass surveillance capabilities to collect this intelligence. It's titled Israel, Mossad encourages protests against new government over proposed judicial reforms. And it says, in early to mid-February, Israeli Secret Intelligence Service Mossad leaders advocated for Mossad officials and Israeli citizens to protest against the new Israeli government's proposed judicial reforms, including several explicit calls to action that decry the Israeli government, according to Signals Intelligence. At the end, you see the serial numbers of the CIA and the NSA. We have described how to read those in previous videos. This update gives us another glimpse into the spy world that we have highlighted many times in the Spy Collection, that even allies are spying on each other, since no matter how close an ally is, there are always things that any nation state would like to know about their allies and foes as early as possible, as well as being able to vet that what their allies say is confirmed by their own sources too. In this case, it's apparent that the NSA was able to spy on the communications of Mossad officials, but without having access to the NSA report, it's hard to know how exactly they did it. Apparently, when this was leaked, Mossad's counterintelligence would dedicate some resources to fix the flaw that allowed the NSA to spy on their officials. Moving next, another open source report from the CIA's open source enterprise, the OSC, titled Israel, National Security Minister calls for offensive security policy, claims Palestinian plan to kill him. And it says that on February 28th, National Security Minister Ben-Gvir called for an offensive hand instead of a policy containment following the killings of 3 Israelis by Palestinians in the last 2 days. According to a press report, Separately, on February 28, Ben Gvir said police have arrested a Palestinian several weeks ago who was planning to assassinate him, according to a press report. We actually found the mentioned publication. It was in the Jerusalem Post, where we read that, in response to Monday's murder of Ilan Ganel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben Gvir tweeted, "We must change the concept of security and move from defense to attack. No more containment and restraint, but an offensive hand." And here is the tweet mentioned in this article too. Once again, this indicates to us some of the work that CIA's OSC is doing all the time to keep their customers informed about any important changes in their area of responsibility, in this case, the Near East Mission Center. We hope that this gave you another glimpse into how one of the most advanced spy agencies operate when it comes to intel updates, and showed you once more that nothing is as it seems.